Your textbook devotes a section to Giotto di Bondone. First, discussing the altarpiece that we looked at. Then, as you scroll down, explaining the circumstances around the Scrovegni Commission. I've discussed that in a video for you, so let's move down to figure 18.7, showing the painted environment. And then to the paragraph below that, here, where they start thinking about the actual storytelling. What they call, very correctly, Giotto's genius for distilling complex stories into a series of compelling moments. That's an excellent way to describe it. They elaborate by saying that he concentrates on the human dimensions of the unfolding drama, from touches of anecdotal humor to expressions of profound anguish, rather than on its symbolic or theological weight. Stop to think about that. What do they mean? They are actually offering an argument here about how to think about Giotto. This is their thesis. Their thesis being that in scenes like these 4 panels shown side by side in figure 18.8, that the human side of the story, with humor or emotions like anguish, are his primary concern, not symbols and not theological doctrine. So think about that as you read their analysis of these scenes. Ask yourself, what's the visual evidence that they're using to support that claim? For instance, here we have on the left the marriage at Cana, at the right the raising of Lazarus. So there are 2 stories that are about Jesus working miracles. That means they have a theological meaning, but according to the author's thesis, what Giotto really cares about is the human side. What does that mean in the case of these 2 stories? And they're going to explain that as Jesus, seated here, is lifting his hand in a gesture of blessing, creating the miracle of water into wine, we have this little moment of the wine steward who has an amusing Santa Claus belly that rhymes visually with the wine jugs, and he's sipping the wine and a little bit wondering, this isn't water. There's a kind of goofy humanness, a tenderness to him that is part of this scene of miracle. And similarly, the miracle here in the raising of Lazarus is that a man who has been dead for days has been raised from the dead. There's Jesus standing in a kind of grand gesture of blessing again, with the hand uplifted to perform the miracle. And here is the dead man come to life, but look at the reactions of the people, the human reactions of surprise, hands outstretched, someone covering her nose because she can't stand the stench. So in the midst of the miracle, Giotto wants us to see it happening in a very human world, with very human expressions, emotions, postures, bodies. So as you continue to read the textbook, really notice what they're saying Giotto does, what artistic choices he uses to make the story feel very human in its emotions, in the human community, the human experience. And keep focusing on that. That's what they're wanting you to kind of learn from their analysis as they go through a number of the painted panels, including this very famous one in great depth. One of the masterful examples of how he takes a Christian Bible drama and makes us relate to it on a human level, even though the man at the center with the halo from a Christian perspective is God.